Apple dropped a bombshell when they announced that the iPad 5th generation had the M1 chip in it, the very same chip that's in the Mac Minis, the iMacs, and the 13-inch MacBook Pros. Now, I've been using the 4th gen iPad Air for quite a while now, but I wanted to see how it compared to the speed of the 5th gen iPad Air. Was it worth the upgrade? So, let's go ahead and check out the speed test.
Okay, so first things first, I want to thank David over at Phone Buff. He graciously allowed me to attempt my sad attempt at doing his speed test like he does. And check out his channel if you haven't already. And then, of course, we've got 4th gen iPad on the left, 5th gen iPad on the right. Let's go ahead and get this speed test started. Of course, again, I'm using my finger. We're not doing this a la Phone Buff style. But as you can see here, starting right off the bat, both iPads do pretty well when it comes to opening up this large file for the Word, and the same thing goes with the Excel. It does take a little longer for the 5th gen to load up, which was kind of odd. But then moving on to the Lightroom and the Photoshop, just basically taking an easy photo here and rendering it out to the iPad. And the 5th gen does take a little bit of a lead here. Not much, but it's the gaming row that I think it could potentially happen. And we'll talk more about that on the back end when we're coming back around from opening these up. But the Call of Duty and PUBG, these are pretty intensive games when it comes to simply just opening it up. There's lots of things to unpack and lots of things to get started before you actually get into the game. Signing in, agreeing to this, and just things pumping up. And of course, the 5th gen does do it a little bit faster, and it's tough to tell because there are some things that, of course, my fingers aren't doing all that well. But moving on to PUBG, same thing here. It seems like it does open up a little bit faster, again, on the 5th gen. How much? I don't know. Is this something that you even care about when you're opening? I mean, this is seconds we're talking about here. We're not, talking about a minute or extra to go ahead and open up a game. So moving on to Fit the Fat. Is it Fit the Fat? Fit the Fat. 3. Again, as you can see, I'm taking these games from David. So, again, thank you very much. He picked some very intensive games here to really test out the processors on this. And, of course, the 5th gen iPad is taking a little bit of a lead here. And it adds up over time. As far as opening up the app maybe like 4 or 5 seconds faster, that is exactly what's occurring here. Is it mind-blowing? No. Keep in mind that the 4th gen iPad is using an iPhone chip in it. And I don't want to get too technical, but it's a really good processor. And of course, the 5th gen uses what's in the Mac Minis, the beginner MacBook Pros, the iMac. So the fact that the 5th gen is opening these things up a little bit faster, it should be expected, right? I think it should be opening up even faster. So the fact that it's doing it by 10 seconds at some point or 5 seconds in others really isn't all that impressive. So the iPad 5th gen is moving on to the last row here, where the 4th gen is just getting done the second to the last row and starting up the last row. And of course, the 5th gen is just about finishing up, and the 4th gen is right behind it. I think it's really all that horrible. So after the first round, the 5th gen is at about 3 minutes and 1 second on that, and the 4th gen is right behind it, finishing up. And again, at 3 minutes and 9 seconds, 10 seconds. Again, we're about 9 seconds behind when it comes to that. And we're going back through on the 5th gen and we're opening up the apps. Now, this is where it does get a little bit interesting. The 5th gen iPad is already at the gaming row. Of course, we know that it's going to finish first. It's when the 4th gen iPad gets to the gaming row, you got Flip Dive, which opens up just fine. Subway Surfers opens up fine. But unfortunately, when you get to Fit the Fat, it does not open up. It couldn't keep it open. The same thing goes with PUBG, and the same thing goes with Call of Duty. Now, the 5th gen iPad, again, no problem keeping everything open. It just finishes up here as we take the last picture, and that finishes off at about 3 minutes and 53 seconds, whereas the 4th gen iPad is still going through and is in the middle of opening up PUBG. I mean, this is really far behind here. So let's go ahead and fast forward to the end here, where the 4th gen iPad finishes at 5 minutes and 5 seconds, about 1:12 behind the 5th gen, obviously, because it didn't keep those games opened. Are you surprised? Go ahead and leave a comment down below. I've got 2 more tests though. A clip, it's 4 minutes and 17 seconds, exporting out of LumaFusion, going into H.264 at 4K. You are going to be absolutely surprised what happens here. I was. When this got done finishing up, you can see the 5th gen iPad finishes at about 2 minutes and 6 seconds. The 4th gen, only at 2 minutes and 22 seconds. I gotta be honest, that is not what I expected at all. I expected the 5th gen to go much harder. The same goes for an export out of iMovie, same exact clip, exporting at H.264 into 4K, and the results, to be completely honest with you, aren't really all that much different. Yes, the 5th gen does finish first, but guess what? 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The 4th gen, 2 minutes and 47 seconds. I gotta say, that is pretty disappointing for the 5th gen iPad.
So those are the results. What do you guys think? Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Personally, I thought this would have been faster than this. Yes, this had a little problem keeping the apps open, but is that something that's important to you? I have a lot more to say about these iPads, so be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that video coming up real soon. Thank you guys so much. You have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.